Hello, this is Dimitri with UGears.us, and today we're going to be doing the assembly of Treasure Box. This is a new model. We just recently received it. We'll be shipping out shortly to our customers who pre-ordered it. We received a small batch this time, and a larger batch is expected closer to the Christmas time. But at least they will have the video to help you guys assemble it. So let's go ahead and start with the assembly. It does look like there's about 6 or 7 boards in here, so and it promises to be about 190 pieces, so I'm assuming it's going to be about 2 to 3 hour assembly time. This is first time I'm seeing the model, first time I'm assembling it, so pretty much in the same situation as every one of you, except maybe assemble a little bit more models, especially in the recent weeks recording the videos. Doesn't look like there are any toothpicks, so all these snap on, there's no rubber band, so it's all 100% plywood. Let's go ahead and start with the instructions. As always, we go through the warning section. If you're gonna have a candle wax, please do not put it on fire, do not light it up. Here are the regular recommendations. So we have candle wax, that it's necessary to wax the parts to make sure the smooth operation, especially the gears. Then we do need a knife. I finally obtained an X-Acto knife, so that's what I'm going to be using it. If you see this sign in the manual, that means that you have to pay close attention to how to assemble it. This one is to press the board, and obviously the one that crossed out, it's not to press the board, just to make sure before checking the alignment of the parts. This one is a mirror image, and this sign will means that you have additional parts, additional components that you can use in case if you break something. So let's go ahead and start with removing the helping tools. There's a H1 part, and then also there's H2. Both of those are helping tools. Here's H1, looks like there are 2 of them, and then the H2 should be on a different board. As always, I'm going to be removing from back to front, so the back is a little bit darker edges, and then towards the front, so the fibers will stay on the board rather than staying it on the part itself. So as always, just work a connection at connection points a little bit back and forth in order to remove the part, and should come out pretty easy. Let's go search for the part number, or H2. And H2 is on force board number 6. Once again, in order to help you out, you can find the connection points and kind of pre-cut them a little bit with the X-Acto knife. That will help you to remove the part a little bit easier from the board. Alright, so we do have both helping tools pushed out, and just to cover additional tools that I might or might not be using, but I have them ready just in case, so I don't have to run to get them anywhere. I do have a set of files. I usually use one. It's half round, so rounded on one side and then flat on the other side. It's just to clean up the gears from any fibers that are left over. And then I do have, well, obviously the candle and little cutters, pliers, so I like to pull the toothpicks, but in this case we don't have any toothpicks, so most likely I'm not going to need this. So let's go ahead and start with the assembly. And now we proceed to sheet number or plate number 1. Let's see, I'm going to put all these boards on the side so they're not on the way. And let's start working with the plate number 1. So on here, the step 1, we need parts number 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 1, 2 right at the top of the board, 2 of number 2s, 3, and 4 is that big flat piece. I'll put the board on the side, and then we insert number 2 into the part number 1. There's 2 holes, 2 bosses on the part number 2, and just go ahead and insert it. And then with the 3, make sure the boss is facing down, and insert part number 2, and also in the 2 holes that are there. Make sure it's all the way in. Then we're looking at the board. Make sure that this sequence of 3 holes are to the left. Then the larger assembly we put on the right hand side. It will fit only one way, and then a smaller assembly on the left hand side with the 2 is parallel to the other number 2 part. So here you go. So that's our component number A. We're gonna move it aside. Looks like we're gonna use it later. Switch over to the next assembly. Step number 4. We need parts number 8, 9, 10, and there are 3 of number 10s that we require. So let's. They're on the same board. So go ahead and remove number 8. 9 is looks like it's a delicate piece, so I'm gonna go ahead and look for the connection points and actually pre-cut those a little bit. Make sure you have something underneath your board so you don't cut your table. And just search. There are little white dots that you're searching for on the part, so it's removed much easier if those connection points are pre-cut. And then we need our pieces number 10. I'm going to remove the whole board from here and just get 2 of the parts out, or 3 that I need for the assembly. And those go through part number 10. Make sure they face the same direction. With the little boss here facing towards the top. And we have that half round to the left. So these go completely through the part number 9. And then into part number 10. So you have that slot on your right hand side. And then 3 holes that will match the number 10s. We also push it through the board, just like that. So you got a little hole here. And make sure they're fully inserted all the way to the end. So we have our part number, or part B ready. So we move on to the page number 5. Here we're still on board number 1. And we need pieces number 6, 7, and 5. So 5 is that little gear right here. So pull that out. Make sure the connection points are clean. So that's what I'm using the file for. Looks like everything's fine. And then number 6 and 7. Once again, these are a little bit longer pieces. I'll use my X-Acto knife just to pre-cut the connection points. Make sure it's easier to be removed and I don't break them. It looks like the connection points are almost at the 4 or 3 corners on one side, and and 4 corners on the other side. And they just fall out. So we'll take part number 6, which is the first piece that second piece that I removed, not the one that fell out. I need to wax the gear number 5. Just dip it into the candle. Should be good to go. To get a little bit wax on it. And then insert it from the longer end through the two holes. It looks like it's only going to a specific side. There's a little bosses that will stop it. And then insert number 7 from the other side with the longer cutout to match the other one. And with this one we need to go as far as we can until it snaps together like in the longer rod. And then that rod, we'll need to use more wax just to get the edges waxed up, as shows on the last image right here on the top of page number 5, and that will give us the assembly C. So we're done with that. Then we'll take number 8, and we use the 2 H1s that we took out in the beginning. They should go in the marked dotted lines, sitting on the part A. Then we take 2 number 11s. They're also on the same board, number 1. And that board is clean now, so we can put it aside so it's not on the way. And then now we use the part C. All the holes are towards the back, and the shorter side is on your left. So these 2 half-round cutouts are top. Hole. Insert the rod through the hole on the left. The 3 holes are on the back. Then we use the assembly B with the that pretty piece, delicate piece towards facing towards the back, and the slot should go where the gear is at. So we insert it into the part number 11. Once again, make sure it's all the way in, and then another part number 11, same thing, 3 holes on the back. Insert the rod and fit it with the part B and C. So we make sure that the gear is in the opening there, and then we need to install it just like that, with this pretty piece facing towards the back into the onto the board. With the H1 still sitting in there. So make sure those fit all the way in as far as it can go onto the and your H1s are still aligned. Looks like it can only go so far. Doesn't let me go any further, so we're just go on to next page number 6. There we move already onto the sheet number 2. So in the bottom, and we need pieces number 14, 15, 2 of them, which are on the right here. So I'll take 14 and 15 out, and we need quantity 2. Just insert 15 into 14 with the little forks going into 15. So So they kind of should snap together, just like that. Once again, we need quantity 2. And then we need 2 pieces number 12. They are right at the top of sheet number 2. So you can pre-cut it a little bit with the X-Acto knife or a box cutter to help you get them removed. And then we do need to fix them or wax them and make sure they're in a mirror image when we assemble it with the two 1415 assemblies. So we wax around the edges here, and we wax the sides. Not sure of both sides, but just in case, I'll put it on the both sides. Remove that extra material or extra wax that got stuck in between. So, and that's going to be our one side, and then wax the other side. Alright, so this mirror image, so one of the 1415 piece assembly goes from one side as far as it can go, and the other one can go from the other side. So that way I have 2 mirror pieces, one left and one right. And then we need to number 13th, which are right next to the 12th. And 2 pieces number 16 should be on the same board as the 14 and 15 that we just removed. So they're right here, longer. And that one also this same mirror image, but before that we'll put a little bit of a wax, and it looks like on the inside and on the, one of the edges. So it looks like outside edge needs to be waxed up a little bit. And then same thing from piece number 16 from one side, and that one kind of can insert so it's tight fit, and that little cross is sitting inside the hole, so you just push it in so it's nice and tight. I believe it's the same thing with the other pieces that I haven't inserted fully. So once it sits in there, it's going to sit nice and tight. Alright. So we move on to next page, which is page number 7. And here we use the assembly that we just did a little bit earlier, and then we need pieces from the same board. That's number 17. So we're going to start with the first one. Take number 17. Sure you remove it. Take that assembly, rotate it towards the left, and we're going to do the right side first. So with these little bosses sticking out, or little pieces sticking out towards the top, the half round piece is towards where the rod is sticking out from the assembly. And then we'll take one right, DR right, so it's going to be your boss towards the top, hole towards the left. We put it in that larger hole here, and then the other right piece, the smaller one, the 13, we put in a smaller hole facing towards that opening right here. So, and then we'll put the number 17 over those. And we'll fit it into the second set of holes that are in that first board that we assembled, the assembly A. So once we're done with that, we rotate it around. We rotate it around and then do the same thing on the opposite side. So we got other two pieces assemblies that we just did, and then board number 17, or piece number 17, that is still attached to my board here. So I'm gonna take it out a little bit, and same thing with the three bosses line up. So we got this assembly done. It's a mirror image, so we did the same thing. And then we're moving on to the page number 8. And then the page number 8, we need pieces number 19, 20, and 21. So they're right here. There's 21, 19s, and 20 is on that little board. So we need, we start with the first one, pull those out. So we got 21, then we got number 19, and we got number 20. So just a second, let me push it out. So it's kind of like working back and forth, and then number 20. So we got, both of these need to be waxed, so I'm gonna dip them before assembly into the wax. Get all the gears nicely waxed up. And then number 20, so with the longer piece going into the number 19, and then the shorter one into 21. So just like that. And then it doesn't, so it's sticking out about the same distance on both sides. And then we need quantity 2 of the same, so I need one more piece number 21, and one more piece 19 and 20. So that's step number 1, and that will get us the part F that you're looking at the top of the page there. So the same thing, just dip those into the wax, and then number 20 with the longer piece into the 19, and then the shorter into 20, but it has to go inside the hole, nice tight fit in there. So just like this. So it's about the same distance from both sides. And then so we got our F, and then we go 22 and 19, which are a little bit smaller gears, and those are going to be our G. And also we need same quantity 2, same as the part F. So looks like we're going to get confused with the letters by the end of the assembly. Hopefully not, but we need 2 number 20s and 2 number 19s for that assembly also. Got it here, and then same thing, we're just gonna dip it into the wax on on all the gears, just to make sure the wax is needed for the smoother operation. And then it's recommended, not required. I've done some models without it, but once again, you come to find out that they do need a little bit of lubrication because it is a plywood, 2-plywood, and it is a lot of friction on there. So it's the same thing. So number 20 with the little boss, you insert it into larger wheel, and then you get the smaller wheel pushed down onto the assembly. And same thing here. And let's see, and just all right. So we have actually one of the wheels. I had 23 assembled accidentally, but it's the same process. So I got number 23. That's at H, makes it H, and then 22 makes G. So accidentally assembled in the wrong sequence, but it's easily fixed. Just continue with the same wrong sequence. I got number 22 and 19, 20, and then 23, 19, and 20. So two of these wheels, didn't even pay attention to that. But it's the same sequence, the same parts, except the larger wheel. It's slightly different size, so I can get rid of this board. And then we need to part number 20s. Same thing, dip all of those gears into the wax, get some lubricant on it. And then use number 20s with the longer boss going into the smaller wheel, shorter boss going into the larger, and making sure that that square or cross piece is actually sitting inside the wheel. So just like that. And let's see, so this is our G, and then the smallest assembly wheels is going to be our H assembly. So just like this. All right. So we got 3 of our assemblies, and then we move on to page number 9. So we'll take that assembly that we have, move it over towards the left, and then insert the wheels H being the smallest one onto the top hole, then G going into the middle hole with the smaller wheel to face down, and then F with the large gear with the smaller wheel facing up going into the third hole. So just like that, and then all that, we need gear number 18 that is going over the little rod that is sticking out. And we also wax it before we insert it. So it's going to go over the rod here, engaging with the one of these assemblies. We're close to it, and then we need piece number 24, also on the board, with the teeth waxed, and that goes over the other end little rod. There, let's see, is there a sequence or how it's supposed to enter? I'll just match it with the teeth. It should be good. So that goes on the closer side to you. There's like a little square piece, so it goes on top of that, and then we cover it with the piece number 25 that has with these bosses, the 5 bosses towards your right, towards the bottom, and then make sure your holes are matching. gears are sitting straight, so you need to make sure that they fit into the holes that are on that piece number 25. Just like that. Everything sits nice and almost all the way in. Just like that. So we're done with the right side, and then page 9 is completed and we move on. Actually, it does show us here that I inserted it upside down. I should follow the directions, so it should be pretty easy to take it apart. I hope. And I kind of have the whole thing's falling apart on me. So I'm gonna redo that assembly in just a little bit. And it did fall apart. So I'm gonna take this out and redo the bottom pieces again. So I'm just gonna go backwards, put everything in place. Then our right side goes in. I still have the pieces attached, which is just good. And I'll come back to the other side shortly. I'll finish the right side first. So everything's in here. Smaller gear, larger gear. Gear at the end. Rotating the whole assembly, and then this piece, so there's a little slot here, or mark, right? So that mark's supposed to be in the last position, and I inserted everything upside down. So let's do it one more time. So that slot should be engaging the latch gear on the small, just only one, and then that's when you insert the piece number 25 in. Alright, so now it's all locked in place. I'm going to turn it around. And I'm assuming we're gonna go on the other side. So same situation here. I'm gonna reinsert these parts. First. Make sure these openings are here in that location, and then we'll do with the H, smaller one with a small gear facing up, then G, smaller gear facing down, engage with the H, and then F, smaller gear facing up, and engage in the bottom there with G. Once again, we need piece number 18 and 24 and 25 to close it all up. And then 18 goes all the way in the back here. Piece number 24 with that little slot engaging the smaller gears, so they all face the same direction, and then insert number 25 with that boss towards the back, and that's the only way you can insert it, so you get all the gears sitting tight and engaged. There you go, all the engagement is there. Once it's all done, all the gears are waxed, except that 18. But I'm just gonna add a little bit wax here on the sides, and then it should get it from the other two. And now we got it all assembled. Now moving on to step number 4. These pieces are breaking off. You can just remove them all together. And it just says do not push them all in just yet. So just have them sit as is. And then we need to set pieces number 26, 27. And that's when we can push everything in. So one of our boards is empty. We're moving to the board number 3. And from the board number 3, we need a larger piece right here on the bottom. So push it out first. Then there's some internal components there. And then took it out from the wrong board. Need to see in the board number 3. And I got board number 5. So board number 3 is right here. And then piece 27. And I actually took out 60. So wrong piece. And then UGears, I'll push it the other direction. From front to back, or from back to front. And then take the other pieces out, going from front to back to make sure fibers stay on that longer piece. Or piece that you're not gonna discard, I should say. So we got that out. And then there is a little arrow, directional arrow, UGears. I guess I'll insert that first. And then you just insert it insert all these pieces and press them together. At least we'll see if that's the right thing to do at a later assembly points, but that's what it shows in the instruction manual. So make sure all the bosses line up as you insert it. My back. More or less. I'm gonna leave it B right now. There's the parts. Are getting together. Let's see. And I'm just gonna let it stay right now, and we'll see further down the road if we need to snap everything together before going further. So I'm gonna put it aside, have everything settled in, and then we need piece number 28 and 29. It's on a little piece that we pulled out earlier. And then snap these two together. Pieces number 30 and 31. Part will give us a part number J. 30 and 31 are inside that little piece number 41. We do need to wax these assemblies or gears. And then the little piece that we assembled goes into the larger, so the cross goes into the larger gear. And make sure you insert it into them so it's nice in there and tight. And then the smaller gear goes over, and make sure they sit, once again, they sit tight to each other, so you kind of use smaller gear to push it more in. So that's our part J. And then we got piece number 32, 33 and 34, which are on the board right next to the other one. And then 32 with the little split, we go towards the 34 gear. Once again, we just need to clean this one off a little bit because there's a connection points on that 33. So I'm going to clean out these connection points and then wax it up a little bit. That kind of gave me indication that I do need to clean those connection points. And then 34, also dip it into the wax and join it with the part number 32. So 32, the one with the split, is going to go into the gear 34, and just like that, it will make it part number K. And we need to wax that face, that outer face of the small wheel. So here it looks like we can, and I will snap everything further together just to finish it up as far as it can go, from both from bottom and top. So our assemblies are nice and tight all around, and those two go in the back. J goes into the larger hole, and then K goes into the smaller hole in the back, with this small wheel facing down as I have the part. That's step number 1. And then step number 2 is to have parts number 35, which are on the same board, number 3. These are nice little flexible corner pieces. So I got one, and we have the second one here. And they go with the arrows facing up towards the back, just like that. And then the other one upside down, so face up towards the back, meaning the arrow facing up, the triangle facing up, attached in the back of the unit, and then you kind of wrap it around carefully and then insert the pieces into the assembly, and then do the same thing on the other side. Don't press it too hard, make sure they fit, and you assemble it together. So that's step number 2. And then it says caution, do not bend strongly, which I just said. Carefully bend it around and then insert it into the slots. And now we need piece number 3637. They're on the same board, just pushing it right here. 3637, we need piece number 10A. It's a shorter 10. Then we need 2 of them. 2 10As and 2 39s. That's out of the shorter pieces, smaller pieces, and then part number 38. And 38 is this nice little wall, decorative wall here. So I'm gonna take that one out with the large hole facing towards that large gear. 36 and 37 should be waxed all around. And then we use that wall piece, put part number 39 into this top hole right here with the little hook facing towards the top. I'm gonna go ahead, fully insert it through. Then another 39 piece, I'm gonna go into that inner square hole also with a larger hook towards the top, slanted down into the second internal hole. Then 10A with a little hook, larger hook goes towards the top, angle towards bottom of the unit into the outside hole here, and the other one is on the opposite side, on that edge right here. So I insert these first, and then I get part 37 is on the bottom one, make sure it spins, and then 36 is on the top one, and make sure they're engaged, right? And then you insert it into the assembly here. There's only one way you can put it in. Make sure they fit into the corresponding holes. And all the pieces engaged and fit in all the way in. So just like this. So your plate is fully seated in without any steps here or big steps. And then make sure the 39s are also sitting all the way in. So your gears should be engaged. One of my gears is a little bit off, so I'm gonna adjust it. Here you go, and completely press it down. So just like that. Now we're moving over to the page number 13, and then the first step is to insert pieces number 40. They're on the next, let's see, they're on a board number 6. And here are 2 pieces number 40. Carefully remove them from the connection points. Make sure not to snap them, they're very delicate because they're bendable. Got these two, and then here, so we have 4 and 3 on one side, 4 on the other side. We're gonna turn, put it towards the top. Actually, make it rotate it on one side towards the right. Insert this side first, where the 4 bosses are at. So I'm gonna fully sit it in, then carefully bend it around, and then insert it into the slots up front, and also make sure it's fully seated, just like that, so it's nice and smooth curved surface. Now I turn it to the other side and do the same thing on the opposite and edge. Bend it around. And seat it in. Let me make sure the video is still running and you guys are still with me, so which is good. And once again, do not do not use all your strength. So just gently bend it around. Got that? Step number 2 is we need 4 number 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are, you kind of push it with your fingernail, so they all fall out. And then we need piece number 41, and that 41 piece as on the previous board that we're just looking at. There's 2 of them. So you take 1 out, and then internal piece where the gears were cut out, also remove it. So I'm gonna go from the front towards the back to make sure that the fibers, if they break off, they stay on the piece that you're gonna discard. Once again, be very gentle, delicate, pre-cut if you need to, just to make sure it's not, don't break it. And that goes on one side, and then pieces number 10 are used to, once again with the angled towards the bottom, I'll insert them first, all the way in. Hopefully I'm not moving my hands off the camera too much and you guys can see everything. If not, I'm gonna have to remake it, and I am enjoying the assembly of this unit, so and just go ahead and insert those into the 4 corresponding holes. Make sure, once again, make sure they're fully seated, because they're sticking out a little bit, not gonna look pretty. And then it's completely, both of that, all the sides, all 4 sides are nice and flat against the box. So then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We need piece number 41. So it's a piece on the same board. Just put it aside, and then remove the internal component from the front towards the back. And then we need 4 number 10 pieces. Get them out of that little board. I'm gonna use my flat end of the file just to push them out. And then I'll do the same thing as insert them first, so I don't have to put all the pressure on the box to push it through the 2 holes, and just pushing it through 1 hole. Alright, inserted. Now we're moving on to the page number 14. There we need the piece number 43, which I removed earlier. That was on the board number 4. Take that one out, and we need to insert it inside the box to cover up the little mechanics that we have there. So we'll take with the thicker portion facing down. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it and slide it in the back, and then very gently bend it in, kind of 90-degree angle, and insert into the other two holes that are there, so it kind of snaps in and sits nice and perfect. And once again, bend it very gently, should be fine. Now we turn it upside down and we look for the part number 44, which is also on the board number 4. Let's see, or actually I did use the additional portion of the 43, but there's okay. Here's another set just in case you break that one, which is a good thing to have. Additional piece. So, and the insert, there's a little should fit one way. If it's sticking out, that means it's the wrong way, so making sure you put it the right way in. There you go. And then that is nice, sitting nice and pretty. Done with the page number 14, moving on to page number 15. And number 15, we need piece number 49. It's on the same board number 4. It's right here, the bottom, top. And then pieces number 50, so there's a set of 6 of them on the same board right here, pushing out the whole box. We need to wax both of the little gears, both sides. And then pieces number 50. You can also pre-cut them, will make it easier. Use the X-Acto knife, okay, get it the little cuts. We do need all 6 of them. Let's see if you can see the connection points a little better on the other side, and you could. So as you cut that connection point, it pretty much there are 2 of the one at the bottom, one at the top. And then once you pre-cut it a little bit, those pieces should be falling out very easily into your hands. You don't need to push of them. So that the X-Acto knife tool makes it life much easier for the assembly. So and then tip of your finger, kind of push them out. You can use the helping tool here, or any stick that you have to push them all out. Now we need to make sure that arrow is facing away from you, and as it's facing away, we insert all these little 50 pieces with the little hook facing towards inside, or I'm not sure how to call it a upside down L. So insert it into the 6 corresponding holes around the outside diameter. Make sure they're fully seated. As you had it flat on the table, it's not going to go all the way in, so just lift it up a little bit and insert it further. And make sure, once again, make sure they're all seated all the way in. Flat, nice flat. So we have the arrow facing away from you towards the top, and we need two pieces 51. And they should be on the same board with a little inner piece that we just removed. So on here, same thing, I'll pre-cut the connection points, which will make it easier to remove those because it does look like it's a fragile piece. So there's 1, 2, 3 connection points. One more time. 1, 2, 3. It should pop out. And then let's see, with so there's some inner rectangles, and there's a little slot facing up, and then there's a slot, so a right side facing, let's see, need to turn it upside down, so your air is on the right side, and then that slot facing towards you, and you put the gears in here, kind of matching with the last one. And then before we do that, I'm gonna take a piece number 52, move to the step number 3. So I'll take that one out. Lay down the way it's supposed to be, so with the arrow facing on the left side, a little bit towards the left, facing towards the back. And as I'm putting these, then pieces number 51, so the other slot towards the back, this one's towards me, towards the front, and then you get all the gears in there to make sure they're matching to the corresponding holes. And you insert the pieces 51 into the slots. Once again, make sure the holes are matching with the gears. So one side and then the other side. Get them inside all 3 parts, make sure they're sitting in there. And then move, we did need 2 wax, so I'll take it out. So we need 2 wax, come back a little bit. We need to wax these 2 sides that's going to be sliding back and forth. So I'm going to wax that. And I'm going to wax the other little piece. So just the sides. Make sure it gets some, remove some friction. And then let's do it one more time. Should be easier the second time around. Here we go, snaps right in. And then we move to the page number 16. We need 2 pieces number 53. They're on the same board here. Little delicate pieces, so make sure you're careful of pushing those out. Might want to pre-cut them, and then they get inserted into the closest slots right at the center there. So one side kind of to hold this little piece in place. So the longer portion goes into the slot closest to the center, and then the other one locks it up in place by going into the second slot. So we got these pieces, and then we need 54 pieces, number 54. 3 of them. There also should be on the same 2 54s and 2 55s. They're on the same board, number 4. So I'm gonna take the blocks out first. And pre-cut it, so it'll be easier for me to take it out. Go from the pre-cut from the front, because that way you can see the connection points. And I found 3 in this case, so they should fall out. So the 54s are gonna go kind of similar way, are the closest, these offset holes, they're closest to you. We're still in the same position, so the longer piece going in the away, the hole that is furthest away, and then the smaller piece goes towards you. Insert it as far as it can, sit. Same thing on the other side. And then 55s. So it looks like I inserted the actually 55s I inserted into position 54, so I'm gonna need to redo those in a second. So I'm gonna work those out. Kinda shaking them instead of pushing it into one piece. I'm gonna kinda shake them out a little bit. Looks like they're very similar, but there's might be a slight minor difference. Yeah, there's 55 are a little bit bigger pieces, so just to double check. '54s, and then 55s goes in the same line towards the back, facing the back, just like on the picture. And then we need 57, 56 sets of 4. And they're also on the same board, number 4. So we'll start with the 56 first this time, with the correct number. And they are closer to you on this board, on this assembly piece. 2 sets on each side. And then the little slope facing towards the back. So just like this. 1, 2. Make sure they seated all the way down on both ends. and then number 57s are on the opposite end, also with the slope facing away from you towards where the arrow is at. And then we insert 4 number 57s. Just like that. So moving on to page number 17, more smaller pieces. We need pieces number 59 and 58. They're also on the same board right here at the bottom. So I'm pushing the whole block out. And then pre-cut them a little bit as the to make sure I don't break it, because they're very tiny and small. And just use the tools that you have at your disposal to push these pieces out, as long as you pre-cut them. If you haven't, I wouldn't recommend pushing them out. They are very delicate. So, all right, and then still the arrow towards the back. We have a little hole there, so with that long leg towards you, and then it's angled towards you on the 59, and inserted right through that, right through number 58 first. And then we want to put a little bit of wax on these things, so because they're going to be sitting towards the moving pieces, kind of pressing against them, just like that. And then the other 59 is the opposite, kind of mirror image. Well, not kind, but mirror compared to the other one. You guys are still with me, which is a good sign. And then same thing, just put a little bit of wax. And the last hole here. All right. Now, if we turn it upside down, there's 6 pieces that are sticking out, and we need item number 60, which is on board number 5, which I pulled out earlier. This is that little piece here where I got that additional piece, number 43. So I'm gonna take the inner portion out. It's got all the additional pieces on here, just in case, including the number 59 and 58 that we just assembled. And then we need to wax one of the sides. Let me see how we can, so we got the arrow towards the left, and there's another arrow here on this piece also towards the left. So make sure the arrows are matching, and then we wax the top surface and the surface here just to get some wax on there. So got a bigger piece of the candle, just wax it nice and good, and then top portion here. Also need to wax the teeth, so I'm kind of like dipping it into the wax rather than putting wax on there, because otherwise it will be too much left on there. So I'm gonna go all around, and then we need the edges to be waxed too. These edges right here. So put a little bit more on there. So, and then once again match the arrows and put it down. Moving on to page number 18. And here we got pieces number 61, got 6 of them. So they are on the board number 5. They're somewhat delicate, so careful. Taking them out, pre-cut, I'd say. Gonna move these guys to the side and use my X-Acto knife to pre-cut the 61s. There are 2 connection points along the, I don't know if you can see it, along that longer edge here without the teeth, opposite the teeth. So that's where the connection points are at, and that's what I'm pre-cutting. First, and then there's one more connection point. I'm gonna pre-cut it on all the units. At least one more that I see, it's right here, that little bend. That one snaps a little bit easier than all the other ones. So we got 6 of these guys, and let's see if they're gonna come out much easier. Yes, they are. And then bring that assembly back to you. The arrows are still facing that direction. Now we need to wax these gear side. Make sure if you have or see anything in between the gears, remove that piece from there, the little fibers that might be left over. Alright, so now everything's waxed, and then gears facing towards the left side, kind of insert it onto the holes, and I match the little lines on the outside piece. So they all facing the same direction, and they all matching the little lines on the mating part. So they all gonna come in very tight and pretty. But very, very simple. So got these pieces inserted. Here we go, nice tight fit. And then we need number 62s, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. They were on the board number 4 that I can find a piece that I can remove from here. We do have additional piece number 40, just in case if you break one. And then these ones are also gonna pre-cut because they're smaller pieces, and usually when you work on these a lot, I just assembled the truck yesterday and there's a lot of tiny pieces, so the fingertips get tired a little bit and somewhat in pain. So it's easier just to pre-cut them rather than trying to push it with your fingers. It's just makes it a little bit easier to push them out. And then I'm gonna use my I think I got most of them cut, except the last piece. Alright, and then those go into these holes are all around, and the slots should be parallel to the slots on that piece here, so make sure you match those all around. So moving on, step number 2 is completing. Moving on to page number 19, we need 3 pieces number 63, that's step number 1. And the pieces number 63 are on the board number 6. Let's see, got 5, 3, and here's board number 6. Got 2 of them in a corner here, and 2 are on the opposite end. Right diagonal. Again, on these, they're coming out a little bit hard, so I'm going to pre-cut the connection points again. Make my life a little bit easier to push these guys out. And then all 4 of them go on right on the corners over the pieces that we just inserted. All around. Make sure it's flat towards the assembly. Alright, so we're in step number 2, and we need part number 64, which is also on the board number 6. It's a big wheel here. I'm gonna use the knife to get the connection points cut, just to make sure it's nice and smooth, round, all around. So quite a few of them. Oh, wrong wheel, but we need both of them anyway, eventually. So we got 64, and this one goes right on top. And once again, seated all the way in, all around, and a little studs here. And now we need a piece number 65. They're on the same board. Pre-cut with the X-Acto knife. I see a couple connection points. In the meantime, I also pulled the wheel out. Keep it in for now. Put that wheel on the side for now, and then to get these parts out. Then this board is empty, so we can move it aside, and then these go right on the edges here. Then we're moving on to the page number 20, and then step number 1, we need a piece number 66. It's on the board number 5. And then that one is also got an arrow. Make sure that arrow is facing the same direction as the other arrows, which you can see on the opposite side. So there's an arrow here, you can kind of see it. Make sure they're all facing the same direction. So I'm just slide it over. Somehow I need to make sure that all the pieces are nice and straight engaging. This one kind of fell out a little bit out of whack, so you can get any of your tools to have it slide back in. And here you go. So everything locks perfectly into place. That's where step number 1. And then we're moving on to step number 2, piece number 67, which I pulled out a little bit earlier. It's got a little 68s inside of it, so get that center piece out. And that one goes over the little pieces here. So it moves that arrow, make sure it's facing towards the left, and then the slots should be going horizontally in this case, so back and forth once you put it, the wheel over the top. And then 68 will lock it all up, and 68 is that little block that we just pulled out. then we get all these little pieces out. Here I'm using my fingertips to pull those out. Doesn't look like the connection points are too strong, so shouldn't have any issues, but if you do, there's always X-Acto knife that can help you out to push these little guys out of the slot. Alright, then those go into the secure that piece number 67 in. I'm kind of starting them up right now, and then once I get all of them seated in, push them in. So I'm going to use a helping tool, as it's going to be easier just to press them all in using it, and once again make sure they're seating all the way down to the surface. So as a helping tool, I'm just using a piece that was removed earlier, so nothing special. Just gives me a flat surface that I can, more area that I can push on, creating a larger force. Alright, so we're done with this piece, and now number 46 and 45, we're now step number 4. I'm gonna put that aside. That one we have on sheet number 3. There you go. One of the pieces that we removed earlier. There's numbers 45. And so once again, you can use X-Acto knife to pre-cut the pieces to get them removed. We do need all 6 of them. Then let's see, on sheet number 3, there's top right here, there's got 46, 47, and 48. So we'll start with the removing 46 first, and then putting all these 45s on top of it. So this flat portion towards the inside. So there's only one way you can kind of insert it on here, and it goes all around into the slots. And then I'm kind of working from the shorter piece, putting it under the angle and kind of sliding it over and in, just like that. So it makes it a little bit easier. So we have a nice piece like that, and then we need 47s, all 3 of them. it's gonna go over that little flower. Struggling a bit here just to get it over. You gotta kind of squeeze it in, all these leaves, petals. And this, I did a little bit on the first one, so I'm kind of working before I fully insert it on the second one, and then before I completely insert the third one, and just push them all in, just like that. And then we need the piece number 48, small little guy here. Push it out, and then that one goes with the flat spots towards the leaves. Goes inside to lock it up. And how far we should go, probably until it goes. As far as you can push it in. Pushed it in a little bit below the surface so it's not sticking out. It seems like I can't get it any further, so don't want to break a little key, so just leave it as is. I'm gonna leave it as is. So that's piece number L, and we'll switch over to the next page. Grab the box and then try that key. Go right in. Insert it in there. And then we need that our helper tool H2 to pull all the little pieces out here. As we rotate it clockwise, it should pull the larger pieces out also. So we got that out, and then we're moving on to page number 22. And then there's an arrow, and we take the 22 and make sure we match it with the arrow. And then it can only go one way to lock it up, so we attach it to the back pieces first. Let's see, make sure it's in the slides in between, and we use piece number 69 to connect those. And now let's see, it's on a wheel here. I need to do some cutting to get the connection points out. We need 2 of those pieces, so both of them are here. Push them out, and then they get inserted with the little hook towards the up, that on the back, up, and then that little piece, cut out piece towards the bottom. So when you push them through, first hole, as far as it can go, and snips in. And then same thing on the other side. I don't know if I can show you. So you just insert it through the holes. Make sure you get all the holes there. And we have one piece there sticking out a little bit. So the needle should go all the way in. Squeezing it together. Maybe it's not lining out properly a little bit. Here we go. And then it should actually kind of sit on top of that little rail, which we did wax. Alright, and you push it all the way in so it blocks that rail, you know, a little bit to the side, and then use two more 69 pieces. They're additional, but oh, they're all right here, so looks like there's plenty of them. Even if you break some, there's replacement ones, additional. It's like double the quantity. So two more, and now we engage the larger pieces in a similar fashion, so it holds that flat moving portion down toward on the cover. So let's see if you can see it. So I go from one side with that little hook up towards the cover, and then through all. All the way through to lock it in place, and then same thing on the other side. So just make sure that little hook is towards the bottom, because it's going to be a problem engaging with on one end much easier. So we got the cover attached, and now there's a little secret compartment there. So make sure it's moving all the way fine. So this piece, it can be removed just like that if you're careful. And there's like secret compartment in there. You can put a note or something in that, and then carefully bend it back in, and it should lock back in place. Nice and pretty. Now the operation. So to close it, you just rotate it. The key is still sitting in, so you rotate it counterclockwise, and then it comes back down. rotate the cover. Looks like it. I don't know if it's set. A little bit scared to do that. So I'm gonna try to open it again. So it sits down, and then you can rotate the top portion here. Remove the key. There's like the little slot opens up, and then you put in the key and rotate it counterclockwise, and then close the cover to keep the key in there, so you can't take it out anymore. And then it's completely locked. Alright, so now since we figured it out, we're gonna go ahead and do it a couple more times so you guys see how it locks very nicely and secret lock. So the first thing, we rotate that little top base. There's we can grab, there is like right on the edges, and rotate it clockwise. So you can see like there's a portion of it sliding out, and then you can remove the key. As you take the key out, put it right into the slot here on the side, on the front of it, right? And then move the top cover back in place, doing it counterclockwise, and then rotate the key clockwise. And as you rotate it clockwise, it's locked. So let's repeat the sequence. Close it up. That's one step I forgot. So the top cover, rotate clockwise. It'll open up the internal piece. Then you rotate the key also clockwise as far as I can go. There's only maybe like 1/8 of a turn, so not much. Take the key out, rotate the cover back in place, put the key in the front, and rotate it clockwise. And as you rotate it clockwise, it will open. One more time, lock-in sequence, counterclockwise, rotate the key, close the cover, take the key out, rotate the cover clockwise, insert the key, rotate it counterclockwise to lock it, and then rotate the cover counterclockwise to lock the key. So now you have a nice pretty box that you cannot open. And then the opening sequence, rotate it clockwise the top cover, rotate the key clockwise, take it out, rotate the cover back counterclockwise to put it in place, put the key in the front slot, rotate it clockwise, and that will open the little treasure chest. You do have a secret compartment that you can kind of like stick your finger in there, move it towards the back, open it up, hide a little something in there, and then as you do, just push it back in very carefully and gently so it jumps back into the slots and locks it up. And then counterclockwise, close it all the way in. And as you can see, there's like nice pretty mechanism that is working. Doesn't really work sideways. So it's a little rough right now. We did put a lot of lubricant, so after quite a few tries it will start getting better as the wood adjusts to itself and sits in. So all the way back, counterclockwise, take it out, rotate the top cover, put the key in, rotate it counterclockwise to lock it, rotate counterclockwise the top cover to lock it up. So nice, very pretty, very gorgeous. I wasn't excited for nothing, so to say, so I'm impressed. And looks like it took us about 2 hours for the assembly, so you're looking at 2-3 hours for the assembly, which is a nice set of time. I'm just removing the little bit of wax that I had here on the sides that we don't need. Nice UGears logo. So that's done with the assembly of the treasure box. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section or email me at info@ugears.us. Please also visit our website, UGears.us. We do have these available for pre-order. Actually, should have them available as of November 1st for shipping. I do have a limited quantity of them. I will get more units a little bit later in November, closer to Thanksgiving, but after that I should have them constantly in stock. So once again, visit our website, UGears.us. Any questions, either leave them below in the YouTube video or email us at info@ugears.us. And I'll see you guys in the next video.